what's the energy like on the defensive side this week, especially knowing you're facing these guys a third time this year?
Yeah, I don't know about the energy because of anybody else other than the situation. You know, the moment is the moment. You know, this is the NFC Championship game is what you dream about as a kid, is what you dream about as far as coaching, is what you dream about just in general. You get into these games, these meaningful games in January, these meaningful games late in the season. Man, this is awesome. You know, this is the moment. This is where your feet are. This is what you want to be here for. This is what you dream about when you coach, play, you know, whatever it is, the person that's supposed to be in charge of putting your face up. It is what it is, man. This is an awesome moment, man. This is what we want.
And then Raheem, you guys' pressure plan the last couple of weeks in particular has really affected what the opposing offense wants to do. But what becomes the challenge when you have a quarterback in Garoppolo who and coordinators in Shanahan McDaniel who do attack the middle of the field at that rate that they do? What's that balance you need to find, and the challenge in that of between rushing for and then sending extra guys?
You know, you want to rush them. You know, you got to affect the quarterback in this league. As you guys know, one of the things I told you I do care about when it comes to stats is, you know, going out and dominating rundowns, going out and affecting the quarterback, and at the end of the day, getting the ball. And, you know, we've been able to do all those things the last couple of weeks, so it's been able to affect our rush. And our rush has been outstanding. You know, the guys are really getting going. It's like a playoff type atmosphere. It is playoff. You got Aaron Donald, you got Von Miller, you got Flo, and you got Gaines balancing that rush and really making things happen up front. So you got to pick and choose your spots when you can rush. You got to pick and choose your spots when you want to rush. These guys do a great job. You know, they're good friends of mine off the field. I don't like them this week, and it is what it is. We got to find a way to get a win and find a way to stop these guys from moving the ball down the field and scoring touchdowns. And the only way you do it is to affect the quarterback. So we got to find ways to affect Jimmy. You know, last game we played him, we got up to a big lead and pretty much dared Jimmy to beat us, and he went out there and beat us. And that's really fresh in our minds and fresh in our memories. You can't wait to go play him.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, Raheem, Aaron Donald had one of the best games of his career against Tampa Bay. How confident are you that he can do it again against San Francisco? What is his attitude like right now?
Claudia, I didn't realize Aaron Donald had one of his best games of his career versus San Francisco, but Aaron Donald, anything you tell me he did, I wouldn't shock me. His mindset, his mentality, the belief he brings to every game, not only this game, but you can definitely see an increased sense of urgency in him as well. You know, his willingness to lead seems to be higher, I'll say. You know, Aaron Donald doesn't talk much to a whole group. He talks more to his unit. But, you know, this week he's talked to the defense. He's more willing to talk to different people. He's more willing to talk about those things. And I think that's a part of his greatness too, a little bit. It's the allure, it's the mystique. And he's letting it out this week. And I'm never going to be shocked by what he's able to do and what he does.
And George Kittle has picked up a new gear for the playoff. How do you slow down or contain a guy like him?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite players in this league. Other than this week, when you're talking about George Kittles, you know, you're talking about a competitor, you're talking about a tough guy. You know, he came out and he talked about the body bag game last week and he put us in one. And now it's our time to pay him back. And, you know, we don't like look at it as like bulletin board material, nothing like that. I gave him some shots after the game, but he's a really fun player to play against because of his competitiveness, because of his toughness. And we can't wait to go out there and try to figure out how to make some plays. He made some big time plays last week versus Green Bay and some critical situations to keep those guys involved and keep those guys with the ability to win the game. And he has that type of ability. So we got to go out and try to stop him.
Thank you, Raheem.
Hey, Raheem, what have you seen out of Vaughn the last 6 games, and how has that elevated the play of those around him?
Well, Stu, that's just a layup. I mean, this guy has been outstanding. His rush ability, his unique ability to set the edge, his ability to play physical, his ability to play fast, his ability to play with finesse. You know, all those things are something that makes him really special, that makes him the great player that he has been in this league. And to watch from what he's done from when he first got here to winning the one-on-ones that I was telling you about that we didn't see because he wasn't effective, he wasn't making the actual play, has gone to turn to making the play. You know, he's getting the sacks, he's causing the fumbles, he's causing a disruption to make errant throws. He has been outstanding, and he's another guy that's found his voice here. You know, he's been around his guys for a couple of weeks. He's got to know Aaron Donald. He's been around Jalen Ramsey. He's been around Flo. He's found his voice. He came in right away with a unique attention to detail on what he had to do. And I thought it was because he was trying to learn what we were doing. It's more about him being nosy, trying to figure out his path, and he's found it.
And then with the possibility of Ernest Jones coming back this week, I know his status hasn't been determined yet, but if he does end up playing, does that change the way you approach who wears the green dot at all? As in, would you stick with Troy Reeder, or if Ernest is healthy, would you go with him instead? How are you approaching that?
You know, to expect a guy to come off a layoff that Ernest is coming off and to go out there and play a huge number of plays would be not in our best interest. But I think he's going to have a chance to come out and contribute. I don't want to be the guy that actually clears him, because that's not my job. That's Reggie Scott's job. But he's going through the phases of practice, and we'll see what we can get him to do. And if we can get him to do something, he's definitely going to have a chance to help us, because he's a really good football player.
Kevin?
Thank you.
Hi, Raheem. You talked about Aaron Donald and his urgency. I wondered about that in a longer term sense. He talks about being motivated mainly by winning a Super Bowl. He also talks about being in his 30s and how it takes longer to recover from things than it used to. What's your perception of how long? I guess first of all, kind of where he is in his career, and how long could he play if he wanted to?
Kevin, that's a really unfair question for me. I know how I feel at 45, and I feel awful. I'm doing a lot less than he's doing, but he is a great player. And when you talk about those great players and what they can do, he might be the best player that we've ever seen. He might be arguably the best defensive player, offensive player, whatever you want to put him in, whatever category you want to put him in the world. So the only person that can determine what Aaron Donald is going to do is Aaron Donald. And I am just privy to be around him every day and to be able to experience this greatness so I can share these stories with other people that I coach. I've coached some really great players, and I share those stories with these guys all the time, but I can't wait to be able to share these stories. And the other part about that is this building wants to win for Aaron Donald, to create more mystique to his legacy and what it's done. Our people in PR, our people in community relations, our people in the football office, the ops, everything that we have, the training room, his players, his brothers, we want to win for Aaron Donald. And I remember when I first got here and I watched that game you guys played last year in the divisional game versus Green Bay, and you lost that game. And I remember watching Aaron Donald's face because they kept showing him on television. And I just looked into his eyes and I felt that hurt and I felt that pain. And when I got here, that was the first thing I said to him: I'm going to do everything in my power possible to help you win a championship. And I mean that. And my feet are easily in their place, because when I think about that guy and what it means to him and what I want to do to try to help him win a championship.
Von Miller was talking about that yesterday. And you talked about Aaron being more vocal as a leader.
Yes.
Is that kind of his message? Is he trying to impart that importance onto other guys?
I don't know if he's trying to do anything but be Aaron. I think he picks and chooses his spots. And I think this is one of those spots where he picked and decided to allow us to hear some of that greatness and some of that information that he gives out. I've been around a lot of different type of leaders. Derek Brooks was more vocal. He talked to the team on a regular basis. He had more one-on-ones than anybody I've seen in the National Football League with coaches, players, whoever. Rondé Barber was closer to an Aaron Donald type guy because he was more laid back until it was time to talk. And Aaron kind of reminds me of that kind of mindset. He talks when he wants to, and when he talks, everybody listens, man. It's no E.F. Hutton deal.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, I appreciate your time. I just wanted to ask you if you could speak about your journey, just in the NFL, going from being a head coach to now your new position and taking everything in, what that really means to you in this moment.
Eric, man, this game it used to be my life, and now it's a part of my life. To not to get into the severe detail of it all, is this is what you work for. This is what you do it for. You do it for these type of people, to be around great organization, great class that deserves a championship this year, for a great head coach and people working for it. And this is the moment. Let's not hide from that moment. I know everybody kept saying Super Bowl or bust throughout the whole season in the playoffs, and everybody's got Super Bowl aspirations to begin it, but there are a few teams that have real aspirations, and we got real aspirations. And don't take that for granted, Eric.
And maybe it's my my Midwest accent. I said Gary Klein for this next one.
Well, hey, artist, nobody wants to listen to you right
Yeah.
now. We in the
All right, go ahead, Gary Klein.
Raheem, you can't feel awful. You're in the prime of your life. Come on, 40.
Gary, I can only imagine how you feel, Gary.
I'm saying I feel great. That's the point.
Oh man, that's awesome.
So, Debo Samuel.
Yes.
Does he remind you of any players you've either coached against or grew up watching, and what makes him so difficult to game plan against and control, even with the plan?
I can't believe we're not talking about Debo Samuels and Cooper Kupp, more highly regarded for the MVP candidates in the National Football League. I mean, those guys, I know this is a quarterback-driven league, and I know our quarterbacks have played great, but these two players have to absolutely defy some of the things that are out there. And when you think about Debo Samuels, you think about the guys like you played against, like the Steve Smiths of the world and the Percy Harvins of the world, and the people that were really dynamic like that with the ability to do multiple positions. Steve Smith being a returner, receiver, get the ball in his hand, he can score from anywhere. And you talk about Percy, you're talking about a guy that can go into the backfield, play wide out, toughness, speed, all the stuff you're talking about, juice, gas, be able to break tackles. And now you're talking about a bigger version of those two players. You're talking about maybe a stronger version of those two players. I don't ever want to discredit those two guys, but Anquan Bolden with speed, I don't know, but you can put him any category he wants, but he's forming his own category, and he's forming that thing in a nice way, and he's doing it with a certain toughness that you like. And as a competitor, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see him. As a fan, you can't wait to watch him, and that makes up for a great matchup.
Thanks very much.
All right, because we have to get another coordinator on, we would get just a couple more from our locals.
You fire me? Then you get another coordinator on, artist.
Our offensive coordinator. So we start with you, Rashad. If we get one from you, one from Mark, and then one from Dylan. Go ahead, man.
Thanks, artist. Hey, coach. You talking about Aaron and his sense of urgency. What does that look like in terms of how the message is delivered, and then also how it's received from his teammates?
It's more, Rashawn, it's a quiet storm, so to speak. Usually when other people talk, I don't care who it is, when you're coming up on a football team, somebody has to say, shh, not when Aaron's talking. It's kind of like, when is he done? And let's wait for that moment for him to be done. I was kind of laughing that they called us up for defense right before we did walkthrough. And, usually you got to call somebody might be doing something different, coming straggling from special teams or something, but I just watched. And you watch Jalen come over with everything wrapped up, and he started to sprint to the huddle to make sure he was in it. And that's just kind of respect that he demands, and he didn't have to ask for it. He just earned and he's given. And it's just a little bit different when that guy does it.
Art.
What are the absolute things that you have to teach in order to stop the outside zone runs that they do and a lot of other people in the league do? And has that changed over the last couple of years?
I'm glad they got you tricked too, Mark. So the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan, I know he's going to listen to this press conference later, and hopefully I can deter his run meeting that he's going to have tomorrow. But the outside zone is what they want to do, and they want to cut it up the field, and they want to absolutely gas you that way. We've had some success stopping the outside zone. And then when you do, they go to their inside zone, which they were able to do to us in the second half of that last game and really get some leaky type yards. So we got to be ready to deal. Those guys have adjustments. We have adjustments. And it's the ultimate chess match when we're talking about a great coach like Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, and Chris Forrester, when they're able to go out there and formulate those things. So there's no one way. There's to go out there and there's to find a way to make those plays during that moment and get those things done. And I can't wait to do it, man. This is what we live for. Like, you want to go out there and play against great competitors in the Debo Samuels. You want to go out there versus great coaches in the Kyle Shanahans and Sean McVays and everybody else that's still out there walking. But I love that, man. Can't wait. Bart Scott voice.
All right, we'll wrap up with you, Dylan.
Hey, Raheem, you mentioned how kind of the whole building wants, to win for Aaron Donald. Great players don't necessarily always kind of inspire feelings like that in teammates and stuff. What about him specifically, makes people feel that way?
I think it's just a person. He's endearing, man. When you're in this building, he just has an endearing way about him. It's what he does with you guys with the media, when you talk with him, when everything happens for him. the accolades. You truly feel the humbleness come out of the guy. Like, he's a humble guy, you know, to his own right. He's a great teammate to his guys. He does everything the right way, the way he trains, his off-season habits, his in-season habits, his meeting habits, his practice habits, and his game performance. And then it's the reality that we all have for him. We love him. Like, we love him.
Thank you.